All right, do I talk about the Bears? You're damn right I'm going to talk about the Bears. Some interesting stuff, I guess, at this point of the offseason. I mean, what else is there to talk about besides the fact that we have to wait until training camp, and once training camp starts, then we're going to get going because preseason games get going, and then I get going, and you don't want to see me get going because I get all red and sweaty when the Bears play. But we saw the Bears try and add some tight ends this offseason. They lost their chance of signing Josh Hill from the Saints because for some damn reason, despite the fact that the Saints have so many tight ends on their payroll, they were able to match the offer to keep Josh Hill. And the Bears were kind of upset about that. And so was I, because he was a solid talent. That would be nice if they had Miller and Hill as their two tight ends. But, so be it. He didn't go. But I see this article here that Jermaine Gresham was plan A, and he turned the Bears down to go to Arizona. And, understandable. Gresham wants to win at this point in his career, and the Cardinals are projected to be very good again in the NFC West and, quite frankly, in the NFC period. But his reason, this is interesting. He turned down $12 million guaranteed, $23 million total to stay with the Cardinals on a one-year deal. $3.5 million he signed with the Cardinals. So, holy cow. Gresham, man, kind of salty a little bit. I understand you want to win with the Cardinals, but hey, man, we got something good going with the Bears. You'd be a huge piece, but hey, so be it. So be it. We didn't get Hill. We didn't get Gresham, so we're stuck with Miller, and they signed, well, not stuck with them. They were able to keep Miller, and thank goodness for that because he was very productive. He and Culler have a very solid relationship. He's going to be dangerous in the receiving game, but other than that, that position's kind of weak, so they signed an undrafted free agent tight end out of Harvard, so that's something to keep an eye on. He'll probably make the roster if I were to bet. That caught me by surprise seeing Jermaine Gresham turn down a $12 million guaranteed deal to come to Chicago, but that's okay. That's all right. Stuff happens. But we have other stuff to be excited about on the Chicago Bears. A very young offensive line with Whitehair, Grisou, and Kyle Long in the interior, as well as a very vicious pass rush that's beginning to come to pass. Eddie Goldman's going to be huge. I believe that wholeheartedly. I think he's going to be a huge part of that defensive scheme under Vic Fangio, as well as Jonathan Bullard, who inked a contract finally. That's very, very good to hear. Also, you have Lamar Houston. How many times have I gone over this? Lamar Houston, Willie Young, Drathan, McPhee, Freeman, and Leonard Floyd. These guys are the real deal, especially I'm looking forward to the development of Leonard Floyd. I feel like, players inside the locker room are saying, oh, what the hell are they talking about? Oh, he needs to add weight. This guy's a beast. So all of this is encouraging stuff. The thing that I'm worried about, and I've touched on this before, is their secondary. Now, they have young players in their secondary that can fill in and are most likely, if I had to bet, will overtake some starting roles. And I feel like Deion Bush, DeAndre Houston Carson, and DeAndre Hall are all going to play a major influence in the success of their secondary this season. All draft picks in this draft. Houston Carson's definitely going to be on the field in special teams. But what I'm excited about is definitely their front seven. That front seven is going to be a major reason why their defense is very good this year. And as a Bears fan, how awesome is that to say? We don't have Christian Jones, Jonathan Anderson, Shea McClellan. All those guys are gone. We have legit linebackers, legit linemen in this 3-4 scheme where you have hybrids that can play both as pass rushers and drop into coverage. Nick Kwiatkowski is also a linebacker that they drafted that could play or do well and exceed in both. So hell yeah, man, that's what I'm looking forward to. Don't give me this negative stuff. Let's be excited about the Bears for the first time in a long time, right? This is legitimate optimism, especially with their young core of offensive linemen and what they have going in their defensive front. Offensively, you have Kyle Long, who's arguably the best at his position at right guard. Grisou, who hopefully will take the next step. And this is a big hopefully because he kind of struggled last year. Kind of got manhandled. And he's a smart player. I feel like he's going to be able to be in the right spots over and over again, but at the same time, he's just got to build strength. Can he get taller? No. So he's got to compensate for the fact that he's going to get manhandled by giant defensive linemen. But that's okay. I think I'm looking forward to the progress that Grissom makes in year 2. And Cody Whitehair, I have a lot of faith in Cody Whitehair left guard. And they waived Slauson, which kind of sucks now as I look at it because Manny Ramirez, a veteran backup that the Bears really kind of relied on to be a huge depth piece, he retired. So now Slauson's gone. Manny Ramirez is gone. Yeah, they have plenty of depth in the offensive line, but Manny Ramirez is one of the main depth pieces. So you're going to rely on Whitehair. We're going to see how Jordan Mills does over in the left tackle position. You're going to be fine at right tackle. We'll see because you got Bobby Massey, but who knows? With the way the Bears are structured, you got to rely on their core young guys, and it's obvious. They want to go with the younger players, and that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing at all because, you see what happens when you make shift offensive lines. You see Cutler get his ass beat to the ground over and over again in the same game because these linemen suck. But I think those days are behind us. I see with a capable offensive line, especially the interior, Cutler will have confidence to not see ghosts anymore. As you saw that as he steps back into the pocket, he's like, oh God, here they come. After a second and a half, usually you get 3, maybe 4 seconds to scan the field back in the pocket before you got to get rid of it before you get hit. This guy was getting on the ground in 3 seconds. It's awful what he had to face. Now I think it's a different story. So faith in the offensive line is good. Faith in the front 7 is good. And we'll see what happens. We'll get more in depth with the Bears. Believe me, you are going to be so happy with the Bears coverage that Behind the Pen's going to provide throughout the season because, man, am I a huge Bears fan. And if you couldn't tell, have to incorporate Bears talk in every Behind the Pen. So look forward to more Bears content once the season gets going again. You'll enjoy it. I hope you enjoy what I've provided today and in the past. Thank you all for listening as I end this show. Gotta give a shout out to our Patreon page once again. If you become a Patreon, patreon.com/Most Valuable Podcasts, donate $1 a month. Helps us provide better content for you. You get exclusive stuff. And if you do, we thank you very much. We thank you. We whole very, very thank you so much. Really, thank you so much. Follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Snapchat, all those things. Google Plus, we're on everywhere. iTunes. Just look for Most Valuable Podcast. Go to mostvaluablepodcast.com. We got everything for you there. I also write some stuff on the site, so check it out if you like to read. Or if you can read, because I can't. But if you can, you should check out what I write for Most Valuable Podcast. But I'm Mike Rankin, and for this episode of Behind the Pen, I would like to say thank you for listening, and I will see you all next time.
Thank you for listening to this MVP podcast. Follow us on Twitter @MostValuablePod for more great podcasts.